As Sri Lanka struggles to recover from its worst economic crisis in decades, its people are leaving for better opportunities abroad.
In the middle of the Indian Ocean, there's a country where 92% of people can read and write. A pretty impressive number. Yet, despite all those smart cookies, it's still struggling to get by. This place is Sri Lanka, where education is a big deal for everyone, but the economy doesn't show it. It's like having a library full of books in a town without jobs. Here, learning is a way of life, but finding a good use for all that knowledge is another story. Sri Lanka is a prime example of a highly educated country that's still waiting for its big break, shaking up what we usually think about how education should lead to success. In Sri Lanka, the roots of the education system stretch back to British colonial rule. They planted the seeds of modern education, making English the classroom's language and setting the stage for an education revolution on the island. Fast forward to 1945, Sri Lanka flips the script on education, declaring it free for everyone, from the kid in the village to the one in the city, smashing the gates of educational privilege wide open. Post-independence, Sri Lanka didn't just walk away from colonial shadows, it sprinted. The government took charge, reshaping education to serve not the crown but its people, aligning it with the island's heartbeat and development dreams. This wasn't just about teaching kids to read and write, it was about knitting a national identity, one textbook at a time. The introduction of compulsory education laws wasn't a gentle suggestion, but a bold move to guarantee that every child, regardless of where they lived or what their parents earned, got a seat in the classroom. But Sri Lanka's education story isn't just about filling seats. It's about soaring literacy rates that leave other South Asian countries in the dust. With a literacy rate that's sky high, Sri Lanka has turned heads on the global stage, proving that commitment and policy can combine to create an educational powerhouse. Yet, as universities popped up and higher education became the golden ticket for many, a gap started to show. There's a towering emphasis on university degrees, while vocational training, the backbone of a skilled workforce, seems to get the cold shoulder. Scholarships and state funding pour into higher education, aiming to lift students from all walks of life into university lecture halls. But the question lingers. Are we preparing students for the job market's realities, or are we chasing degrees that lead to dead ends? At its core, the island's reliance on agriculture and traditional industries paints a picture of an economy anchored in the past, striving to navigate the currents of a rapidly evolving global market. This historic dependence, while once a source of strength, now poses a significant challenge as Sri Lanka attempts to transition into a knowledge-based economy. The juxtaposition is stark, a country rich in educational achievements yet tethered to economic models that struggle under the weight of modern demands. The scars of civil war further complicate this economic tapestry, leaving behind a landscape marked by socio-economic disparities and a social fabric stretched thin by years of conflict. Despite considerable public investment aimed at healing these wounds, regions affected by the strife lag in key economic indicators, revealing an uneven recovery that mirrors the broader challenges of national reconciliation and development. Enter the COVID-19 pandemic, a global crisis that mercilessly exposed vulnerabilities across the spectrum of Sri Lankan economic life. The virus's impact was swift and severe, cutting deep into sectors like agriculture and tourism, which are vital arteries of the nation's economy. Export revenues from hallmark commodities like tea witnessed a dramatic fall, while the tourism sector, a critical source of foreign exchange and employment, saw its earnings halve in the face of travel restrictions and global lockdowns. These immediate financial shocks are layered atop existing vulnerabilities, such as climate change's erratic dance with agricultural productivity, further stressing an already fragile economic base. Financial crises have become recurrent nightmares, manifesting through shortages in essentials like medicine, food, and fuel. Proposed solutions, such as web-based systems for more efficient energy consumption, are but band-aids on the gaping wounds of economic instability. Key macroeconomic indicators like inflation, interest rates, and foreign exchange rates sway with a volatility that undermines sectors critical to the nation's economic well-being, including construction, highlighting an underlying fragility that demands urgent attention. At the heart of Sri Lanka's economic quandary is the unsettling dissonance between its educational successes and job market realities. The island boasts one of the highest literacy rates globally, yet faces a grim paradox: a burgeoning cohort of educated youth confronting a job market ill-equipped to harness their potential. This mismatch not only stifles individual aspirations, but also fuels a brain drain phenomenon, with talented Sri Lankans seeking opportunities abroad, thus draining the country of its intellectual capital. The loss is twofold: the immediate impact on the labor force and the long-term repercussions on the nation's ability to innovate and grow. Rural and urban economic disparities further fracture Sri Lanka's economic landscape. The digital divide, a global challenge, manifests with particular intensity here, where access to technology and infrastructure significantly impacts one's ability to participate in and benefit from economic development. Urban areas with better connectivity and resources leap ahead, while rural regions, vital to the nation's agricultural backbone, languish in a state of perpetual catch-up. This analytical dive into Sri Lanka's economic challenges reveals a multifaceted crisis, where historical legacies, environmental pressures, and modern-day calamities converge. The path forward is daunting, but not insurmountable. Addressing the chasm between education and employment, fostering resilience against financial shocks, and bridging the urban-rural divide are critical steps toward a more stable and prosperous future. On paper, education is a silver bullet for economic woes, poised to lift nations out of poverty and propel them towards prosperity. The reality, however, reveals a disconnect, a gap where theoretical promises of education-driven growth fall short in the real world. It's not just about having schools and universities churning out graduates. It's about what happens next, where these educated individuals fit into the economic puzzle. Economic and educational theorists have long championed the quality of education as a critical driver for reducing poverty and bridging income inequality. Yet, in the context of Sri Lanka, it becomes evident that access alone is insufficient. The quality of education, its ability to foster critical thinking, innovation, and problem-solving skills, is uneven across the board, reflecting deeper societal and economic disparities. This inequality in educational quality not only perpetuates social divides, but also limits the country's economic development potential. The crucial role of education in socio-economic upliftment is underscored by theories suggesting that educational institutions should not just be seen as knowledge dispensers, but as dynamic social entities where students, as decision-makers, are shaped by and contribute to their educational experiences. Moreover, the quality of education and its focus, or lack thereof, on developing higher-order thinking skills often correlates with the socioeconomic status of the institution, which, in turn, perpetuates existing inequalities. International assessments like PISA and TIMSS further highlight the significant impact of education quality on a country's economic competitiveness and growth, yet methodologies and interpretations of these assessments vary, adding layers of complexity to understanding the true impact of education on development. Government policy and investment in education emerge as pivotal in this discourse. The allocation of resources between education and other sectors, coupled with the challenges posed by political instability and corruption, significantly affects the efficacy of educational reforms. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, kindly like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. In Sri Lanka, where educational achievements are notable, the lingering question is how these achievements translate into tangible economic growth and development. Economic crises and downturns further strain this relationship, underscoring the need for resilient policy interventions that can support education even amid fiscal turmoil. Sociocultural factors play a formidable role in shaping educational outcomes and, by extension, economic development. Social expectations and gender disparities influence both participation and achievement in education, with long-standing cultural norms dictating the value placed on certain careers and paths of study. These sociocultural dimensions contribute to a landscape where educational success does not necessarily equate to economic advancement or workforce equality. The paradox of high education and low development in Sri Lanka, therefore, is not just a matter of educational access or quality, it's a multifaceted challenge that intersects with economic policies, social norms, and global competitiveness. In the midst of Sri Lanka's economic and educational conundrums, there emerges a narrative of resilience. This story isn't just about overcoming odds, it's about redefining them, about individuals and organizations that transform challenges into stepping stones for success. The Chamber of Young Lankan Entrepreneurs, COIL, epitomizes this spirit with its Zero to Billionaire program, showcasing the journeys of entrepreneurs who didn't just climb the ladder of success, but built it from the ground up. Figures like WKH, Wegapitia, Sumal Pereira, and Samantha Kumarasinghe stand as beacons of what's possible when grit meets opportunity, illustrating that the leap from local to global prominence is not just a dream, but an achievable reality. Yet, the path for Sri Lankan entrepreneurs is fraught with hurdles. The landscape is a battlefield where competition is fierce, technology evolves at breakneck speed, and the global market's demands never cease to expand. For many, the initial steps towards entrepreneurship are taken with resources pooled from personal savings or the support of family, as was the case with Sharanyan Sharma's ExtremeSEO.net. Sharma's journey from a modest start in Vivunya to commanding a significant global enterprise underscores a critical lesson. With minimal resources but maximal resolve, the ceilings of success are boundless. Recognizing the pivotal role of entrepreneurship in national economic rejuvenation, the Sri Lankan government has shifted gears towards nurturing an ecosystem that cultivates business innovation. By embedding entrepreneurship into the educational fabric, fostering skill development, and streamlining regulatory frameworks, the state is laying the groundwork for a future where entrepreneurs are not just born, but made. The proposal to integrate entrepreneurship clubs in schools, along with establishing national centers for coaching and mentoring, marks a forward-thinking approach to empowering the next generation of business leaders. The creation of entrepreneurship hubs and business incubators at the district level is more than a policy recommendation. It's a blueprint for grassroots economic revitalization. These hubs serve as incubators for potential platforms where ideas can be nurtured, refined, and launched into the competitive arena of global markets. Through such initiatives, the government aims to sculpt an entrepreneurial culture that's robust, dynamic, and inclusive. Sri Lanka's National Innovation and Entrepreneurship Strategy breathes life into this vision, targeting key sectors like organic products, rubber, seafood, spices, wellness tourism, and ICT BPM. This strategy isn't merely about stimulating economic activity. It's about crafting an identity for Sri Lanka on the global stage, an identity rooted in innovation, quality, and sustainability. It's a call to local entrepreneurs to not just participate in the global economy, but to shape it, to contribute to a narrative of growth that benefits both the nation and the world. Through these lenses, the case studies of Sri Lanka's foray into entrepreneurship and innovation reveal a compelling saga of triumphs and ongoing challenges. They underscore the indispensable synergy between education, government policy, and entrepreneurial endeavor in sculpting a resilient, prosperous future. To pivot Sri Lanka towards a future where education and economic development align, a meticulous, multifaceted strategy must be employed. Central to this approach is the elevation of vocational and technical education from a perceived second-tier option to a cornerstone of the educational system. This shift is not merely about altering perceptions, but about enriching the workforce with individuals whose skills are directly applicable to the market's needs. Vocational training, with its emphasis on practical, hands-on experience, serves as a direct conduit to employment, ensuring that learners are not just educated but are truly job-ready. This focus on vocational and technical education is a pragmatic response to the mismatch between the outputs of the educational system and the requirements of the labor market. Embedding innovation and entrepreneurship within educational curriculums transforms students from passive recipients of knowledge to active creators of value. This isn't just about teaching business skills. It's about cultivating a mindset of problem-solving and creative thinking that can drive economic growth from within. By encouraging students to view themselves as potential entrepreneurs, the educational system can stimulate a new wave of economic dynamism, creating jobs and fostering a culture of innovation. The role of public-private partnerships, PPPs, in education cannot be overstated. These collaborations bridge the divide between the theoretical knowledge provided by educational institutions and the practical skills demanded by the market. PPPs ensure that education is not an isolated endeavor, but a process deeply integrated with industry needs, providing students with real-world exposure and experience. Such partnerships not only enhance the relevance of education, but also increase the employability of graduates, ensuring that the transition from education to employment is seamless and effective. Technology and digital education emerge as critical levers for democratizing access to education, eliminating geographical and socioeconomic barriers. E-learning platforms and digital tools offer flexible, scalable solutions that can reach the most remote areas, ensuring that every student has the opportunity to learn and grow. Moreover, by preparing students for a digital economy, these technologies ensure that Sri Lanka's workforce remains competitive on a global scale, capable of navigating and thriving in the rapidly evolving digital landscape. Policy interventions play a crucial role in this transformation, incentivizing industries to invest in education, aligning educational reform with job market demands, and ensuring transparent, efficient governance in educational administration are essential steps. These policies must foster an environment where education is seen as an investment in the future, supported by both the public and private sectors. Learning from global best practices offers invaluable insights into how other countries have successfully navigated the challenges of aligning education with economic development. This involves not just adopting successful models, but also adapting them to fit Sri Lanka's unique context, ensuring that strategies are both effective and sustainable. Moreover, aligning educational qualifications and skills training with global standards enhances the mobility and employability of Sri Lankan graduates, fostering international collaboration and exchange. Sri Lanka's journey toward harmonizing education with economic development requires a multifaceted strategic approach. By prioritizing vocational and technical education, the nation can align its workforce with the real-world demands of the job market, ensuring that education leads to employability and economic prosperity. Embedding innovation and entrepreneurship within curriculums transforms students into creators and problem solvers, crucial for driving the nation's economic engine forward. Public-private partnerships stand as vital bridges, linking educational outcomes with industry needs, while the embrace of digital education technologies promises to democratize access to learning, making it more inclusive and adaptable to the digital economy's demands. Policymaking that incentivizes industry investment in education, reforms to align learning with job market requirements, and efforts to ensure governance transparency are essential. Learning from global best practices and integrating with international standards can enhance Sri Lanka's competitiveness, ensuring that its graduates are not only well-educated, but also well-prepared for the global workforce. This comprehensive strategy, built on innovation, collaboration, and adaptability, is key to transforming Sri Lanka's high educational achievements into a catalyst for sustainable economic development and growth.